Years ago, there wasn't help. We didn't have dating coaches. We weren't talking about PTSD and CPTSD. If you think this is you, get help. Seek help. Don't wait. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to do this life alone.
Welcome to Erase PTSD Now, the podcast, erasing the silence. Here we bring trauma out of the shadows and into the conversation. You'll hear real stories, survivors, veterans, clinicians, researchers. Together we'll explore the healing treatment and the science behind the stellate ganglion block. This isn't just another podcast. It's a movement, and one that demystifies trauma, elevates unheard voices, and inspires action.
You're really quite incredible. You've done so many things and have done so much for the dating world and TV and everything. Tell me about you.
So I started the business almost 16 years ago because I was every bad dater that loved red flag people, and nobody was teaching anybody a system. No, my parents didn't teach me one. Nobody I know had parents that was teaching them. So I was left to my own devices to put my own little system together, which I did by spending time in the library as a college junior and putting my own methodology together, which got me out of my bad dating patterns. I started teaching my roommates, watching them sail off to relationship success all throughout my 20s. Same thing. So I started this company in 2009 to help people with the system that I put together that actually puts some intelligence, neuroscience, and science behind a process that feels sometimes so emotional and scary and irrational.
Yeah, irrational. You said that. I just had this flood of, while you're doing that in college, I think I was kind of cuckoo dating myself, me being that person. But anyway, look at how motivated you were then and look where you are now. That's incredible. And then you said some key words there, the neuroscience behind it. So that is, and that's kind of where we look at the trauma and, trying to help people heal. But in that dating world that you are an expert in, congratulations. And to be recognized as you are is really pretty exceptional. And the tips that you have are so valuable to us and to people with trauma that are dating. So would you mind talking a little about that? What you talking about college and your dating experience, but what shaped that beyond how you talk to others and how you teach this to other people?
I think the fact that I found a great husband on my own and started teaching my roommates and my friends how to do it is what started me in this. And I think, like anything, once you do something as a hobby, it's a little bit different than when you actually start to look at the general population that starts to come to you, and you start to notice patterns, and you start to realize, gosh, there are things that are happening here that I just don't know. Why are all these people doing these things? And so it was back to the research, back to talking to the experts, which was just amazing. It's like, why do people keep picking the wrong people, right? And then you're like, oh my God, family of origin can have a huge impact on why we choose people that aren't good for us. Maybe it's early relationship experiences. I remember in the beginning when I first started practicing, learning about people that were chronically choosing narcissists, and they had more codependent tendencies. Then later started to understand what CPTSD was through interviewing other experts, through having clients that are therapists specializing in CPTSD. So I constantly, I love to learn, Coleen. So for me, being in this field where I get to not only teach people how to date, but I'm constantly learning about how the world is changing and different people's experiences. And through that, always titrating, how do we become better in dating and relationships?
That is so insightful, and you like to keep learning, as you said. I can imagine how it's changed in the sense that when you started this, as you were saying, there's so much more technology. People are dating AI, so to speak. I mean, what did you ever dream that you'd be seeing what's happening now?
No, it's crazy. I mean, AI can write online profiles. AI can chat with you, can sift through dating apps. I mean, it's kind of incredible to some extent. It can feel like it makes the dating process easier and more efficient. But at the end of the day, humans want human connection. and human contact. So you just have to worry if there's an AI bot responding for you and proactively messaging people for you. Well, the person that you end up showing up to go on the date with might want to date your chat GPT. So it's really important to use LLMs and AI in ways that can make things more efficient and make you better. But ultimately, you want your connections to feel the essence of you.
Right. So I imagine you feel a little bit like a therapist as you guide people through the skills that they develop working with you.
So I love, it's a great honor to be told that, oh my gosh, you're like a therapist. And I have a lot of therapists as clients, but I think that what we do in coaching very much is about, okay, let's look at why you are where you are now, right? And there's a series of experiences and data points, maybe genetics, that have gotten you to this point. Now in the coaching process where Smart Dating Academy comes in, it's putting pink sparkly bubble wrap around each client and protecting them through this process as we begin to get out there and take action. Right. And so that's where our coaching is different than therapy. Right. So we'll talk to people and kind of be the encourager and be the listening, be the soundboard. But then we're also giving concrete advice. Do this. Don't do that. No, you're not going to that person's house. Nope. It's not time to have sex yet. So we're literally, and people so appreciate the concrete advice at the right moment.
Oh, that's pretty incredible too. And you're right, which therapists don't do. They don't tell you no, they tell you to kind of walk the journey of where you are. So that is good advice when it comes to dating for sure. Now, can you tell me a little bit about maybe some clients that you work with that had trauma and how you walk them through the steps? I'm sure that that's a little different than many others.
I mean, at the end of the day, who doesn't have trauma, right? Whether it's little t or big T, right? Micro traumas, macro. I think that every one of us is this series of, maybe negative beliefs, negative things that have happened to us. So it's about, we have to unwind it with every single person that comes to our practice, right? Sometimes it's, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not good enough. There's no good people out there. Now, when we see people that have been through big T trauma, right? Sexual assault, very neglectful parents, emotional abuse, physical abuse. So we have EMDR therapists that we refer out to all the time. So we are pretty good at assessing very quickly who needs what and when, and then bringing in those resources if we need to.
Oh, that's fantastic too. I love how you say wrap them with the pink sparkly bubble wrap too. That's
Everyone loves that. They're like, I want to be wrapped up in pink sparkly bubble wrap. I'm like, I want somebody to wrap me in pink sparkly bubble wrap.
Now, let's talk about the person with some trauma, or anyone for that matter, but in particular, let's look at it as it pertains to trauma. When they come back to you after that first date, what does that look like? How do you redirect them if they're making some missteps or what you see as wouldn't go down the right path, maybe for the best outcomes?
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole process. We have graphs for what healthy dating trajectories look like, lists of red flags, dating scorecards. So we've got a whole system that helps people to become educated in this. But when we see them potentially going off road and not following the process, we'll say, hey, hang on a second. I don't think, right? And ultimately, we work with adults, right? We can only give guidance to a certain point. And it's like, here's the system. Here's what we're telling you is right or not right. Like, I think it's too quick for you to jump out of the dating pool. We say, for example,
Good.
We want 15 dates prior to getting exclusive with somebody. And this is 15 dates over 3 months while you're concurrently dating other people. Now, sometimes, even though people will invest in us, they want a process, they want coaches, there's regression to the mean. We want to do things the way that feels comfortable to us, which isn't always right. So there are people that are like, Bella, I know it's only been 4 dates, but I know this is the one. I don't want to date other people. I have to see this one through. I'm like, look, our guidance is, why not wait? Why shut down all of your other options right now? And we'll give the advice. Most people follow the advice because we have a self-selecting cohort of people that has invested in a process and they want that. But every now and then there's somebody that doesn't want the advice. And then they go off on their way. And then we support them even through that. Like, okay, we'll help you. We've wrapped you in sparkly bubble wrap, but sometimes if the crash is too big, the bubble wrap might not even protect us. And then we'll help you to pick up the pieces and start over again.
Oh my gosh. So that time frame where they're dating a few different people at the same time, are you helping match those people up, or how's that work?
Yeah, we're helping. We're teaching them how to find people on the apps, how to find them in real life, how to find them through their networks of people. So it's more than matchmaking, right? It's teaching you a process of how to be your own matchmaker, how to find people anywhere and everywhere, and then evaluating, is this a good match or is this not a good match? What people think matchmakers do is actually the opposite of what they do. They're there, like you can hire somebody to be a quote unquote matchmaker. They're going to go to the apps or LinkedIn and say, well, here's someone who has the educational background you want and the work pedigree and they're as tall as you want. But what the hell does that mean from this person is relationship worthy?
Right.
They're going to be good for you. They're not avoidant or narcissistic. Matchmakers don't know that. Nobody knows that. That is a function of a process and time and help around the process.
Interesting. It sounds like you may run into a lot of narcissists. Do you see that a lot? Is that more common than we think?
I mean, is somebody a narcissist or are they a jerk? Right?
I love you.
I was going to use a more colorful word, but I decided to refrain from my normal curse word. So I would say that, a lot of people are jerky. It's very difficult for me to assess by somebody's behavior. Are they truly a narcissist per the DSM, right? It's like, okay, that person is a jerk and they have red flags and they seem like they're behaving narcissistically. That doesn't mean I can diagnose them, but hey, guess what? We're done. Block, delete, let's move on.
Block, delete. Okay. That's a tool right there. Block and delete. Don't go backwards, right?
No, absolutely not. And if you have this mindset of scarcity, you're like, oh, well, here's a person that's finally wanting to date me. And, and we talk ourselves into all sorts of things. No, red flags are red flags. I ask people all the time, when did you first see the red flags with your ex? They're like, oh, I saw them right away. I just ignored them. We all do that. Why?
Or an absolute and then they're like, but.
Yeah, there's always, I saw, but I didn't think there was anybody out there, but I thought it was better than being single, but I didn't want to get back on the dating apps, but I never thought I'd find somebody better. And he told me, you're not attractive enough to actually get a guy better than me. Right. And so you hear all of this stuff. Oh, yeah. Truth is stranger than fiction in my world.
I bet. That, you said the scarcity, though I hear that a lot. There's the dating pool after certain ages just dwindles. But I personally think that it's kind of more like you're saying, nowhere to look, right? Is that true? Or do you think that I don't ever think it's too late.
It's never too late. And you're not going to find somebody right away, right? It's misaligned expectations that make people hate the dating apps. I'm like, it's just a database. Right? Even if you're hiring for a job, you don't expect to just click and say, oh, here's the perfect candidate. But we have these unrealistic expectations about what dating actually is and how we need to look at it. We don't put ration to this process.
Agreed. I'm actually assessing myself as we talk, and I'm like, I need to do this to retrain myself, reprogram the brain. And I imagine you see that too. I think of the goofy things I did when I was younger, and you hope that you've grown out of them, but it's almost like you default.
Right. Yeah. Regression to the mean. We go back to our original operating system, right? And that's why I'm like, okay, nope, that's what you normally do. That's not what we're going to do this time. And that's where it's not just having a system or a process. People are like, can you write a book that puts your process out there? I'm like, it doesn't. It's like losing weight. Everybody knows what do you have to do? Eat better, move more, right?
Right.
It's not that easy. And dating is very much like that. You need support.
Great analogy. Yes. I
you
like
need support. So that you don't default to your operating system.
Embarrassing.
Not at all. You know what? Shame sucks. Don't pile shame on yourself. Did you ever go to dating school? No. Did you go to relationship school? No. Who was taught how to do this? If our pickers are broken, it's not your fault.
my gosh. See that, and that's great advice. So now jumping back to the people with trauma and dating and healing. And I imagine you're working through the different levels, as you said. Is there anything that you guide them through a little more directly? I imagine you work with their warning signs a little bit more, things like that.
I think that sometimes we have clients that have been through trauma that are triggered by everything. Oh my gosh, he's got the same name as my ex. Oh my gosh, he wears the same cologne. I'm like, that's not a red flag in and of itself. So sometimes we can think normal things are red flags, right? It's kind of PTSD coming back out. So no. So that's where we're here to say that's not a red flag. Here's what we're going to do. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And that is good. Work through the real red flags versus perception and all of that. So you kind of touched on this, and let me just do this because we're talking about the trauma components. If they hit a real trigger when they're on a date, is there anything that they should be doing, or just leave, or what you kind of guide through there?
It depends on what the trigger is, right? If we know what it is, then we can help them kind of sit with it and not, pack up and run immediately. But if it's something that is serious, or somebody's really rude or negative or abusive, it's absolutely okay to cut the date short and leave. So it really depends on what the thing is. But yeah, one of the greatest things that we do is we have our clients, before they agree to meet somebody, we have them do video first. Because if somebody is truly bananas, I always say crazy can't hide for more than 15 minutes. So if somebody's truly like, oh my God, awful, you're going to see it on video.
My gosh, I love that too. Just so you know, I am learning tons talking to you.
I'm so glad.
I am. Oh my gosh. So your program must be fun. You want to tell everybody more about your program and anything like how to navigate, how to reach you?
Yeah, for sure. We would love anybody that's, needs help along this journey. If you're just starting, you can listen to my podcast called the Smart Dating Academy podcast. Everywhere you get your podcast, that's great. Get your feet wet. It's free. It's easy. You can follow us on Instagram at Smart Dating Academy. Lots of great tips on a daily basis. I've got a YouTube channel. And if you're ready for having a personal trainer for your love life, and you're ready to invest in yourself and a system and help that works, go to smartdatingacademy.com, fill out a contact form. You'll get our newsletter. And if you decide this is something that you're ready for, we'll reach out and we'll do an introductory call.
But you're so right that starting this early would be a wonderful key to learn. Like you said, you're not taught. This is an incredible skill and tool for somebody to have, because everybody dates at some point or another.
We're all wired to want love. That's how humans are wired. It's not weak, right? Even though we're fine on our own and we're happy and we're healthy, we still want that love from one person.
Oh, okay. Now, will you do me a favor and finish this sentence? The first step to break in the silence around PTSD and love is
getting help.
Thank you.
If you think that you have it, get help. 30 years ago, there wasn't help. We didn't have dating coaches. We weren't talking about PTSD and CPTSD. If you think this is you, get help. Seek help. Don't wait. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to do this life alone.
Thank you for listening to Erase PTSD Now, the podcast. If you've been affected by trauma, love someone who has, or want to be a part of real change, this space is for you. New episodes drop every third Wednesday. Follow Erase PTSD Now so you never miss an episode, and join us in the fight to erase PTSD.